an article came out in Rolling Stone right after they did that Dadeland shooting.
Oh, yeah.
An article came out in Rolling Stone. Would never dare approach that person and offer them anything, knowing that Poli was involved.
Okay.
Never.
But
that was a big deterrent.
I'll bet. The credit system aside, I understand what you mean there, but essentially you're buying it off the Ochoas for 50, you're selling it to 52, you're selling it to these guys for 60, 62, making your spread, and you don't owe anything back to the Ochoas at that point because you already paid them. Exactly. And now you just divvy it up among you guys. And essentially what you're becoming during this era is now you are becoming the logistics guy to get things from point A to point B.
Yeah. Since I had such a good client, my reputation grew as a person that could move the product. So I started getting, offers from other groups to give me product. And since they knew I would always pay, my credit, I was very credit worthy, let's say. And with good product and good pricing, because I always maintain good pricing, I was able to expand my clientele, and start giving. I was working with a guy that used to, his clientele was the Hollister Ranch many years ago, like in 78, 80. It was just a bunch of rogue surfers, surfing out there at the Hollister Ranch, and they would go once a year.
The Hollister Ranch. Yeah, I'll look it up for you. Okay.
And they used to go to Peru to surf contests. And surfing, Peru has great waves at certain times of the year. And they used to bring back their Coke inside the surfboards.
But inside the surfboards?
Yeah. So when I started I had a friend, a Canadian friend that I worked with that was also a surfer, and he hung out there. And I started giving him 1, 2, 3 kilos of Coke. And within 3 months, he was selling 100 kilos a month.
Love that. Enterprising.
Good pricing, good product. I never cut the product. So it moved. It's just basic economics. A good product at a good price will sell itself.
And this is all, you're still in your 20s during this time period, right?
So you're young, selling 300-400 kilos a month. I mean, I didn't know what to. Yeah, by the time I was 27, I already had $5-6 million.
Do you have any of this money buried anywhere? You can keep it between us.
There's a $100 bill inside the book.
By the way, before we go on here, I do want to say this to people out there who already think this sounds unbelievable. We're going to get through how it all happened, but you literally have a consulting firm that advises the government on matters like this to this day. And you were a guy who, when you were caught in 2000, we'll get to that whole story eventually, were paraded on the news by, the U.S. authorities, like had been long wanted. So when you talk to the guys, including like the Steve Murphys of the world, who is from Narcos fame, the DEA guy, a bunch of the guys who arrested you, who you're now great friends with today, like your story all checks out. Like you really did do all these things, because I know what people think when they see people on YouTube talking, like it sounds unreal, but you really, for 25 years, were this logistics guy. You really did deal with all the people we're going to be talking about you dealing with, including at the very beginning, like the Ochoas and coming up under a guy like Poli. But I'm just giving that little editorial for people out there because it's going to keep getting crazier as we go along here.
Yeah, that is, it's not really what I did. A lot of people did what I did. Maybe not the numbers, because the numbers had a lot to do with it. Fortunately, I was able to sell large amounts early on from day one. I never sold 5 kilos. I never sold 10 kilos. I would always sell to these distributors, 100, 80, 70, 100, 120.
Yeah.
Okay. But I had 6 or 7 of these, and I built it up. But what I did was one thing. It's how long I did it for.
Yes.
And did I plan it? No. 25 years went by like this. And it was just like I started as a chauffeur for Poli. Then Poli went back to Colombia because in 79, I think it was, an article came out in Rolling Stone right after they did that Dadeland shooting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
An article came out in Rolling Stone.
Can you pull that up, Alessi? Dadeland shooting?
Yeah.
And Poli freaked out because they spoke about the situation that existed, I think, with El Colorado. But basically, that kind of freaked him out, and he went back to Colombia. When he went back to Colombia was when he said it was all right for me to continue working with his client in San Francisco, even though I had already broken up. I didn't break up. They kicked me out.
Right. With your girl.
With Bia.
Yeah.
And then I did it with his brother. Okay?
Yes.
With his brother.
Enrique.
And then the other guy that was also involved here was Joel. Poli's compadre was also working with this same person in San Francisco. Joel gets killed. Some Peruvians whacked Joel in San Francisco.
Why?
Over business. Joel was a very, very problematic, very high-pitched guy. You know, he was trouble. He only respected Poli. Poli was the only guy that kept Joel in line. Joel was a piece of work. He was a dangerous motherfucker.
It sounds like you were around a lot of these guys over the years.
Yes, I was. Joel didn't really fuck with me because, remember, I was Poli's. Look, the most important thing and the most precious thing for a guy like Poli, un bandido, a guy that's got enemies, is where you put your head at night, on what pillow you rest your head, is where you sleep. And then Poli, since I was a very mellow, very clean-cut kid with no malice, no tendency towards, backstabbing him or, doing a number on him. He really trusted me. A clean-cut kid. I was in charge of renting the apartments where he slept.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.